padarvindayo tasya preranaya tasya divyadisham vadamyaham. Kararvindena padarvindam mukharvinde viniveshayantam vatasya patrasya pute shayanam balam mukundam manasa smarami. Aho chitramaho chitram Vande tat prema bandhanam yad baddham muktidam muktam brahma krida bhrigi kritam. Yo brahmanam vidadhati purvam yo vai vedanscha prahnoti tasmai tagvangha devamatma buddhi prakasham mumukchurvai sharanamaham prapadye. Dear devotees, we'll do some kirtan. We'll be chanting the kirtan being projected on the screen, and after that I'll address today's topic. Radhe Radhe Govinda, Radhe Radhe Govinda,
Radhe Govinda, Radhe Radhe Govinda,
Radhe 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 Radhe Govinda,
Radhe Radhe Govinda,
Radhe Radhe Govinda,
Radhe Radhe Govinda,
Radhe Radhe Govinda, Radhe Radhe Govinda,
Radhe Radhe Govinda, Radhe Radhe Govinda,
Radhe Radhe Govinda, Radhe Radhe Govinda,
Radhe Radhe Govinda, Radhe Radhe Govinda,
Do Anand Kanda, 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 Radhe Radhe Govinda,
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 Radhe Radhe Govinda, Radhe Radhe Govinda,
Radhe Radhe Govinda, Radhe Radhe Govinda,
दो है ब्रज चंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा,
तू है ब्रज चंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा,
दो है ब्रज चंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा,
तू है ब्रज चंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा,
दो चकोर 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 चंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा,
Radhe Radhe Govinda.
Radhe Radhe Govinda.
Radhe Radhe Govinda.
Radhe Radhe Govinda.
Radhe Radhe Govinda. Radhe Radhe Govinda.
Radhe Radhe Govinda. Radhe Radhe Govinda.
Radhe Radhe Govinda. Radhe Radhe Govinda.
Radhe Radhe Govinda. Radhe Radhe Govinda.
Bhaj man nirdvandva. 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 Radhe Radhe Govinda.
Sat Chit Ananda. 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 Radhe Radhe Govinda.
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 Radhe Radhe Govinda. Radhe Radhe Govinda.
Radhe Radhe Govinda. Radhe Radhe Govinda.
Jag Gorakh Dhandha. 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 Radhe Radhe Govinda.
Radhe Radhe Govinda.
Radhe Radhe Govinda.
Daru Prem Phanda. Radhe Radhe Govinda.
Daru Prem Phanda. Radhe Radhe Govinda.
Daru राधे राधे गोविंदा
दारु प्रेम फंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा
राधे राधे गोविंदा
राधे राधे गोविंदा
भजु पदारविंदा 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 राधे राधे गोविंदा
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 राधे राधे गोविंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा
राधे राधे गोविंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा
तजी दे पर निंदा 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 राधे राधे गोविंदा
तजु मन छल छंदा 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 राधे राधे गोविंदा
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 राधे राधे गोविंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा
राधे राधे गोविंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा
दो राह दो बंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा
दो राह दो बंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा
दो राह दो बंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा
दो राह दो बंदा
ब्रज रस कंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा
दो ब्रज रस कंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा
दो ब्रज रस कंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा
दो ब्रज रस कंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा
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 राधे राधे गोविंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा
राधे राधे गोविंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा
दो चिन्मय चंदा 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 राधे राधे गोविंदा
आनंदानंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा
आनंदानंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा
आनंदानंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा
आनंदानंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा
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 राधे राधे गोविंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा
राधे राधे गोविंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा
जीवन सखी वृंदा 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 राधे राधे गोविंदा
भजु कृपालु मंदा 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 राधे राधे गोविंदा
राधे राधे गोविंदा
Radhe Radhe Govinda,
Radhe Radhe Govinda,
Radhe Radhe Govinda,
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 Radhe Radhe Govinda, Radhe 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 Radhe Govinda,
Radhe Radhe Govinda,
Radhe Radhe Govinda,
Radhe Radhe Govinda,
Radhe Radhe Govinda,
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 Radhe Radhe Govinda, Radhe 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 Radhe Govinda.
अलबेली सरकार की जय। Today's topic is a question or a dilemma that souls always face. In fact, it's something that's existed and bothered us since eternity. It's a quarrel between us and God, a quarrel between souls and God. God says one thing, God tells us to do one thing, and we say, no, you first do this. And He says, no, you do that, then I'll do this. And neither one is backing down. Both are stubbornly entrenched. And this has been going on since eternity. God says, surrender and I'll grace you. शरणागत हो जाओ, फिर मैं कृपा कर दूंगा. And souls say, grace me, then I'll surrender. पहले कृपा कर दो, फिर देखो मैं कैसे शरणागत हो जाता हूं. So we've been arguing stubbornly like this with God since eternity. Tapah prabhavad deva prasadat cha. Ved says, first souls have to do something. Souls have to do bhakti to become surrendered. Then they receive God's grace, His prasad. Tameva sharanam gaccha sarvabhavena bharat tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam. Gita. Shri Krishna tells Arjun, first take refuge in God, surrender to God. Tameva sharanam gaccha, go and surrender to Him. Then, tat prasadat param shantim. Then you'll receive His divine grace, and through that you'll get everything that you're looking for. Divine knowledge, divine bliss, freedom from suffering, freedom from rebirth, freedom from the bondage of Maya. But first surrender. Ananyashchintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Gita. Shri Krishna tells Arjun, surrender to me 100%, wholehearted, unbroken surrender. Then what? Then I take your full responsibility. Yogakshemam vahamyaham. I take total responsibility for every aspect of your life. But first, surrender. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraj aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchah. Gita. Shri Krishna's final teaching to Arjun. Surrender 100%. Mamekam sharanam vraj. Then, don't worry, Arjun, I'll take total responsibility. I'll delete all your past sins, all your past karma. I'll liberate you from all kinds of bondages. But you surrender. Mamekameva sharanam atmanam sarvadehinam. Bhagavatam. Shri Krishna is telling Uddhav in the Bhagavatam, I am the soul of all the souls. Therefore, all souls must surrender to me. Man kram bachan chhadi chaturai bhajatahi kripa karat raghurai. Ramayana also tells us, you first do bhajan, surrender your mind through devotion, then kripa karat raghurai, then He graces you. But first you surrender. This is God's statement, God's position. He's made clear since eternity. And we make our position clear. Why should you have it your way? You say surrender first, then you'll grace me. I say grace me first. If you grace me, then why wouldn't I surrender? Which one is being unreasonable? God who's saying surrender, then I'll grace you? Or soul who's saying grace me, then I'll surrender? Some may argue that God is perfect and all-powerful, so He doesn't need anything from us, and we're His children, so why couldn't He grace us first? Why is He being so stubborn? Even if He's right, even if you say, maybe God could argue, See, in this world, do you ask for the results before you do the work? Do you go to a university and say, give me a diploma, then I'll study all the classes and take all the exams? No. You do the work first, then you get the result. Does anybody in this world think first you get the mango, then you plant a tree and tend it and water it? No, you plant the tree and tend it, and many years later you get the mango and you get to enjoy eating it. So God says, why are you asking for the results before you do the work? Surrender and see what happens. You get the results instantly, automatically, but you're not getting the results first. Sometimes people say, because Jagadguru Shree Kripalu Ji Maharaj, he says to do devotion you have to do Roop Dhyan. And Roop Dhyan means visualizing the form of Krishna in your mind. So some people say, Maharaj ji, ek baar dikha do, fir dekho main kaise Roop Dhyan karta hun. In other words, Maharaj ji, just show me Krishna one time, then I'll be able to do Roop Dhyan. Right now I've never met him, I don't know what he looks like. How can I imagine him? How can I do Roop Dhyan? So Maharajji's answer is twofold. He always told people, first of all, you're asking for the results before you do the work, which we just discussed. The result is getting the divine vision of Krishna, and to qualify for that, you have to practice Roop Dhyan. Don't ask for the end result first before you even start. And the second part of his answer is, even if I showed you Krishna, you wouldn't benefit from it. You think your Roop Dhyan would become easy, but it wouldn't. Shri Krishna has explained the reason why in the Gita. Tribhir gunamayayir bhavai rebhi sarvamidhan jagat mohitam nabhijanati mamebhyah paramavyayam. Shri Krishna says, even when I take avatar on the earth, even then if I come before an ordinary person, they don't know who I am. They don't recognize me. We think, oh, if I would have been there during Krishna's time, when he was walking on the earth, how lucky I would have been. I could have met him face to face, then I wouldn't have all this trouble of he's saying surrender, and to become surrendered, I have to practice bhakti, I have to practice Roop Dhyan to purify my mind, then I can become surrendered, then I can see Krishna. If I would have been there in India 5,000 years ago, I could have met him and the whole thing would have been solved. Shri Krishna says, no, because your eyes are material, prakrit. Your vision only allows you to see mayic things, satvik, rajas, tamas things. Tribhir guna mayayir bhavai. The whole world is made of the three qualities of Maya. Sattva, good. Raj, in between. Tam, bad. Three qualities of Maya that make up the entire material world, and your senses and mind are also made of these three qualities, so you can only see those three things everywhere you look. You see good, you see normal, and you see bad, but you can't see divine. Where is Krishna right now? He's right here. Vasudeva sarvamiti. Samahatma sudurlabha. Vasudev, Krishna, is everywhere. He's right here, right now. But only that rare soul who has divine vision, who's a God-realized saint, can actually see Krishna. So when Krishna is here now and we can't see him, what makes us think during his avatar that we could have seen him? We would have seen something, but not him. We would have seen the form, but we wouldn't have thought, oh, I saw Krishna, I saw God. We wouldn't have experienced the divine experience of meeting Krishna. Not like King Janak. Inahi vilokat ati anuraga barbas brahma sukhahi man tyaga. King Janak saw Ram and instantly his mind was drawn towards him. Forever, fully and completely, his mind was drowned in the love and beauty of Bhagwan Ram. Instantly, imagine. But what would have happened to us if we had seen Ram or Krishna? Jaki rahi bhavana jaisi, Prabhu murati dekhi tin taisi. According to the quality of our mind, is our mind more sattvic, more rajas, more tamas? Which mayak guna predominates in our mind? Accordingly, we would have seen Ram or Krishna. If our mind was more tamas, like a rakshas, we would have seen, oh, look at him, he's so scary. He's a rakshas like me. And if our mind was more rajas, just normal, worldly, we would have thought, oh yeah, he's looks like a good-looking guy, but I don't trust him. And if our mind was more sattvic, we would have been attracted, but we still wouldn't have known that he was God. Only the one with divine eyes can see Krishna's divinity and actually experience him as God. The main point is, even if a great saint like Kripalu Maharaj said, okay, I'll show you Krishna, you know what our reaction would be? Oh, you showed me Krishna? This is Krishna? I don't feel any happiness seeing him. I feel more happy seeing my own son or daughter or my own husband or wife. And you're telling me I should do devotion to purify my mind so I can become surrendered. Why? So I can meet Krishna? I just met him. No big deal. I get more happiness from eating rasgulla, which I already have. I don't have to do years and years of bhakti for that. I can eat rasgulla, I can see my husband or wife or my son or daughter anytime I want without doing any bhakti. And you're telling me, no, leave those desires and do bhakti to Krishna for what? I just saw him and I didn't experience anything great. So then Guruji would say, because you weren't qualified to experience what Krishna really is, then why did you show him to me if I'm not qualified? वही तो मैं कह रहा था पहले से. Guruji would say, that's why I told you in the beginning I'm not going to show him to you. You're not ready. So this idea that, oh Guruji, just show me Krishna, then watch what kind of a devotee I become. No, it wouldn't help us at all. What helps us more is the words of the saints saying, I have seen Krishna, and now I'm drowned in his love, and I have perfect happiness every moment of the day. And we say, I want that. And there are hundreds and thousands of saints repeating that, so we have faith. I want what those saints are experiencing, because I've already experienced what this world has to offer. You think that by becoming as rich as Bill Gates, or by owning a company the size of Amazon, that you'll get something more than what you have now? No. Whatever level you're at, you've experienced what this world has to offer. And you're not satisfied yet. So why would multiplying more of the same that hasn't satisfied you give you perfect satisfaction? It doesn't even make mathematical sense. How much satisfaction do you have right now? Zero. Zero satisfaction. You have pleasure, more or less pleasure, but zero satisfaction because you're always looking for more. Even when you're enjoying the best pleasures of this world, you're not satisfied. You're looking for more. So multiply those pleasures by 1,000 times or 1,000,000 times if you want to. Your satisfaction level is still 0. Your satisfaction level and Bill Gates' satisfaction level are equal. You think, if I were as beautiful as that movie star, then I would be more happy. Your satisfaction level and the most beautiful movie star, nowadays, I don't know who it is. We used to say Aishwarya Rai, but she's getting a little old, right? Priyanka Chopra. So some most beautiful movie star, you think if I looked like that, then I'd have more satisfaction. No, her satisfaction level and your satisfaction level are exactly the same. And if you don't believe me for this life, then take all your uncountable past lives where we have been everything. So you have been that most beautiful movie star in some past life. You've been the richest person in the world in some past life. And still you weren't satisfied. You lived your life like that. You died. You were reborn. Here you are, again, looking for more happiness. You know what the world has to offer. And that's why we have some level of vairagya, some level of detachment from this world, which makes us somewhat open to listening to the saints. The saints are telling me that there is a state of perfect happiness where you get real satisfaction, and that happiness lasts forever. That sounds interesting. I'm willing to listen to more. And the saints tell us that happiness is God. And to get that happiness, you need God's grace. And to get God's grace, you have to surrender. And we say, okay, why doesn't God just grace me right now then? Why do I have to surrender? Now we're right back where we started with this quarrel between the souls and God. God saying, look, this is my rule. You have to surrender, then you'll receive my grace. And souls say, well, I'm your child and I'm your stubborn, spoiled child. And I don't accept your rules. I say, grace me right now. Give me divine happiness right now. So then, saints tell us one more important aspect to understand. That divine happiness for which we're demanding, God, give me that happiness. Give me your grace. That's a divine power. And since the happiness it gives is unlimited, the potency of that power is also unlimited. So God says, where should I grace you? You say, well, can you give it to me in my hands? God says, no. Grace is received in the heart. That's where happiness is received, and that's where divine grace is received. So we say, okay, give it to me in my heart right now. And God says, your heart, your mind is mayic and it's impure. And the thing I have to give you is divine, not just pure in a material way, divinely pure, and it has unlimited potency. So would you try to contain a nuclear reaction in a paper bag? No. That divine power God has is infinite times greater than any nuclear reaction. And we're saying, go ahead, grace me. I'm ready. And God says, there won't even be a particle of you left if I give you that divine power right now. You prepare yourself. Do devotion. Purify your mind. When your mind is fully purified, in other words, when you've become fully surrendered, then through your Guru's help, through your Guru's grace, your mind will become divine. So first I'll grace you for your mind to become divine. Then into your divine mind, I'll give you divine happiness. The ultimate divine power. But first, make your mind divine. Now you're starting to understand. We, the souls, we're starting to understand. As you've been sitting here and listening to me, some of the pieces are falling into place. Why has God not graced us yet? First of all, if He just appeared before us, that wouldn't help us because we wouldn't even accept that He's God. We'd say, oh, well, He just looks like a normal guy to me. Sure, He might be wearing a crown with a peacock feather, but God? Really? No. Because we're not qualified. We don't have divine eyes. And in addition to that, if He just gave us that unlimited divine power, His prema shakti, we would just vaporize. There'd be nothing left of us because we don't have a fit vessel to receive that divine power. And on top of that, there's one more thing. God has given us free will. We are individual entities. We are individual souls. And we have free will. Right now, we're using that free will to be turned away from God. We're all seeking the same thing. We're all seeking happiness. But we're seeking that happiness from the world. And we're basically ignoring God. And don't tell me that, oh, but I worship God every day. Because my response is, what are you asking God for when you worship? You're asking Him for the world, are you not? So you're still turned towards the world. You're not really turned towards God. This is another way to understand this situation. Bhayam dvitiya bhiniveshatasya dishadape tasya viparyayo smriti. The Bhagavatam tells us that we have been turned away from God since eternity. God is over here looking at us, and instead of facing God, we're turned away. Although God is everywhere, physically speaking, but our mind is turned away from Him. It's called being vimukh. Hum Bhagwan se anadikal se vimukh hain. We want happiness, but we're not seeking that happiness from God. And in fact, we don't even really believe in God. Astityevopalabdhavyas tattva bhavena chobhayoh. Astityevopalabdhasya tattva bhava prasidati. Kathopanishad says, the moment you believe in God, He'll appear before you. So we don't even 100% believe in God, and we are not turned towards Him with the hope of getting happiness, with the hope of getting divine happiness. We're turned towards the world, so we have our back turned towards God. Dva suparna sayuja sakhaya samanam vriksham parikhasva jate tayoranya pippalam swadvatya nashnan nanyo abhichakashiti. Mundakopanishad says that God and the soul are like two birds sitting in the same tree. The tree is our body, and we both inhabit the same tree. We, the soul, we're sitting inside here, inside our heart, and God is also sitting in there. But this mantra goes on to say, the soul, that one bird, is busy flitting around the tree trying to eat the different fruits on that tree. The fruits are the things in this world. Sometimes that bird gets a sweet fruit, sometimes that bird gets a bitter fruit. But in this hardabadi, in this hurry to try to enjoy the world, that little bird has forgotten about his eternal friend, the other bird, which is not eating the fruits of the tree, but is only sitting there watching his eternal friend. This mantra says God and the souls are eternal friends. But the souls have forgotten about God. God has not forgotten about the souls. That bird is watching the other bird, but the other bird has completely forgotten about his friend. But jushtam yada pasyatyanyamisha masya mahimanamiti vita shokaha. Mundaka Upanishad goes on to say, the moment the soul turns to face God, in other words, surrenders to God, all the problems are finished. Suffering is finished forever, and that soul meets God face to face. But we have to turn towards God. Right now we are turned away from God. And if you say, well, why doesn't He make us turn towards Him? He has given us free will. This is God's rule, that souls have free will. And even though God is all-powerful, it is God's nature to abide by His rules. And one of His rules is souls have free will. So God doesn't control the actions or the thoughts of souls. Therefore, it is 100% under our control to turn towards God or not turn towards God, to surrender to God or not surrender to God. And yet the soul still says, okay, so what if I'm not surrendered to you? Grace me anyway. Give me divine grace. And God says, I'm already gracing you. How do you think I'm not gracing you? If it's raining outside and you decide, I want to go and collect some nice, pure, fresh rainwater. So you take a nice big container out there, out in the rain, and you turn it upside down. And then it rains continuously for days. And you keep coming and checking. And you say, what? I didn't get any water? Then you say, clouds, why do you not like me? Why are you not gracing me? You're gracing all my neighbors. They're collecting so much rainwater. This is what God says to us. I am gracing you. My grace is omnipresent. I'm showering my grace on everybody. You have to open your heart, turn your container right side up, become sanmukh, turn towards God, then you can receive His grace. Surrender is not a price for receiving God's grace. In case you're thinking, oh, why is He demanding, it's like a charge. My grace is not free. You pay me with your surrender, then I'll grace you. God says, no. There's no price. There's no charge. I'm gracing you already. Your surrender is simply the means of receiving my grace. If someone backs up a truck, a big milk tanker in your town and just announces, I have this unlimited supply of milk and I'm giving it away for free. However big is your container, bring it and I'll fill it. And you come with an old cracked clay pot and say, you're giving everybody else 5 gallons, 10 gallons, 50 gallons of milk. You didn't give me any? He said, bring the proper container and I'll fill it. God is gracing us already. Our patra is not right. Our container is not ready to receive His grace. There's no charge from His side and there's no delay from His side. But we have to prepare our vessel. We have to purify our mind and turn our mind towards God to receive His grace. So it's up to us to end this quarrel. God is not being stubborn, actually. We're the ones being stubborn. We have forgotten about God, but He has not forgotten about us. So now you understand that although we've been quarreling with God since eternity, saying, you grace me first, then I'll surrender, and God says, you surrender, then I'll grace you, but in fact, God is in the right here, because God is already gracing us in so many ways, in every way possible. But we're not accepting His grace, and we have that right because we have free will. So if we want to receive His grace, we have to follow a process to become surrendered. That process is called bhakti or sadhana bhakti. How to follow this process and become surrendered so we can receive that grace which God is giving free of charge will be the topic for next week's lecture. Boliye Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki. And now we'll have a few minutes of kirtan before the arti. We'll be singing a pad kirtan written by Kripalu Ji Maharaj, which describes a beautiful vision of Shri Krishna. Remember I told you that part of the process of devotion is to do Roop Dhyan, where you have to visualize the form of Shri Krishna. Songs like this, with descriptions of what Krishna looked like, which are written by saints like Kripalu Ji Maharaj, these help us to visualize Shri Krishna. Even though we can't see His divine form yet, we practice by visualizing to the best of our ability. And that actually purifies our mind. And Krishna accepts our effort, even though we can't imagine His divine form as it perfectly is. But whatever effort we put forth, He accepts that effort and graces us for that, which purifies our mind to some amount. So we'll practice Roop Dhyan. We'll practice visualizing Shri Krishna as we chant this pad. ठाढ़ो सुंदर श्याम यमुन तट
ठाढ़ो सुंदर श्याम यमुना तट
ठाढ़ो सुंदर श्याम यमुन तट
ठाढ़ो सुंदर श्याम यमुना तट
मुकुट ग्रीव कटी पद छवि बाकी
मुकुट ग्रीव कटी पद छवि बाकी
मुकुट ग्रीव कटी पद छवि बाकी
मुकुट ग्रीव
बाकी अभिराम यमुना तट
अति बाकी अभिराम यमुना तट
अति बाकी अभिराम यमुना तट
अति बाकी अभिराम यमुना तट
ठाढ़ो सुंदर श्याम यमुना तट
ठाड़ो सुंदर श्याम यमुना तट
ठाढ़ो सुंदर श्याम यमुना तट
ठाड़ो सुंदर श्याम यमुना तट
लकुटी कर लपटी पट दुपटी
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 लखी सिहात शत काम यमुना तट
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 यमुना तट
यमुना
श्याम यमुन तट
ठाडो सुंदर श्याम यमुना तट
ठाढ़ो सुंदर श्याम यमुन तट
ठाडो सुंदर श्याम यमुना तट
कटिपट पीत काछनीता बीच
कटिपट पीत काछनी ताबीच
कटिपट पीत काछनीता बीच
कटिपट पीत काछनी ताबीच
मुरली सुघर ललाम यमुन तट
मुरली सुघर ललाम यमुना तट
मुरली सुघर ललाम यमुन तट
मुरली सुघर ललाम यमुना तट
यमुन तट
यमुना तट
यमुन तट
यमुना तट
ठाढ़ो सुंदर श्याम यमुन तट
ठाडो सुंदर श्याम यमुना तट
चितवानी चोट चलावत इत उत
चितवानी चोट चलावत
Shitavat it ut
Chitavani chot chalavat it ut
Man bhavat brajbam yamunatat
Man bhavat brajbam yamunatat
Man bhavat brajbam yamunatat
Man bhavat brajbam yamunatat
ठाढ़ो सुंदर श्याम यमुनतट
ठाड़ो सुंदर श्याम यमुनातट
छवि प्रतिबिंब कृपालु जमुन जल
छवि प्रतिबिंब कृपालु जमुना जल
छवि प्रतिबिंब कृपालु जमुन जल
छवि प्रतिबिंब कृपालु जमुना जल
लख एक सखी तेहि ठाम यमुनतट
लख एक सखी तेहि ठाम यमुनातट
लख एक सखी तेहि ठाम यमुनतट
लख एक सखी तेहि ठाम यमुनातट
लख एक सखी तेहि ठाम यमुनतट
लख एक सखी तेहि ठाम
Yamuna Tat
Thado Sundar Shyama Yamuna Tat
Yamuna Tat
Yamuna Tat
Yamuna Tat
Yamuna Tat
Thado Sundar Shyama Yamuna Tat
Thado Sundar Shyama Yamuna Tat
Chavi Pratibimb Kripalu Jamuna Jal
Chavi Pratibimb Kripalu Yamuna Jal
Chavi Pratibimb Chavi Pratibimb Kripalu Jamuna Jal
Chavi Pratibimb Kripalu Jamuna Jal
Lakhaik Sakhi Tehi Tham Yamuna Tat
Lakhaik Sakhi Tehi Dham Yamuna Tat
Lakhaik Sakhi Tehi Tham Yamuna Tat
Lakhaik Sakhi Tehi Dham Yamuna Tat
Thado Sundar Shyama 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 Yamuna Tat
बोलो बांके बिहारी लाल की. Those of you who are watching on YouTube Live, if you have any questions that you want answered in the next couple of weeks of lectures, in the next couple of Sundays, you can post those to the comments section, or you can email me if you have your email, if you have my email. Anyone here also, if you have any questions you want addressed in the next couple of weeks, you can let me know. and I'll answer those in next Sunday's lecture or the one after that. One change to an upcoming program is that we've announced a Ram Navami intensive. We're just going to be having that intensive on the weekend. So actual Ram Navami is April 21st, which is a Wednesday. And originally we were announcing an intensive that Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, but we're moving that to the weekend. We'll still celebrate Ram Navami on Wednesday, April 21st, but we'll have a Ram Navami intensive that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which is the 23rd, 24th, and 25th of April. So April 23rd to the 25th, we'll be having a Ram Navami intensive. So we're moving it to the weekend so more out-of-town people can attend. Now we'll have the Aarti.